Hey, ¿qué tal amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. Today, coming to you from my living room, I'm going to talk a little bit about Spanish bureaucracy today. Now, recently there was a survey or a questionnaire posted in one of the local newspapers here called The Local, and they're asking about bureaucracy in Spain. They want to know if it is as bad as people say it is. They want people's opinions on their experiences with Spanish bureaucracy, and they want to give some tips on how to deal with the bureaucracy here in Spain. Now, over the last 20 years, I've had a fair bit of experience dealing with Spanish bureaucracy. I'm self-employed. I set up a company a few years ago, and I also had to go through all of the immigration process to live in this country since I'm not from the European Union. So I've had a fair bit of experience. Now I'm going to share with you some of the worst experiences that I've had, but first I'm just going to say that Spanish bureaucracy is as bad as people say. Now, it's one of these things that I can never really understand because Spain is a country that has so many public servants, but the service in the public service, if that makes sense, is just absolutely terrible a lot of the times. Now, I've had some good experiences, but the majority of the times it's a bit of a nightmare. So for example, if I go down here to the local council because I need to get a piece of paper or I need to get my empadronamiento, you know, this like this thing that shows you that you're living in a particular area, it's not too bad. There's not a lot of people there. You get a ticket, you wait, and you go through the process fairly quickly. When you start to deal with organizations like the Social Security, the taxation department, and even the immigration controls here in Spain, that's when things start to become a bit of a nightmare. I will say that they have improved over the years. When I first started to go through my immigration process to get my residency here in Spain, I remember I had to queue up really early in the morning. I'd get up at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, get to the police station, and always to my surprise, there was at least 50 people that had got there before me. So that's one of the things that you're going to encounter with bureaucracy. Queues. There's normally heaps and heaps of people waiting to do the same thing as you or something similar. And that's what I said, that when you go to a place like the tax department or the Social Security, you just have to be patient. You have to be prepared for a wait, basically. And that's what it's all about. Now, there is a way that you can avoid bureaucracy here in Spain. You can hire somebody to do it for you. If you walk down any street, you'll come across a place called a gestoria. A gestoria or a gestor is one of these people that will take your paperwork and deal with the bureaucracy for you. And they might even limit the amount of time that you have to spend dealing with the public service, okay? So keep that in mind. You're going to have to pay money. They don't work for free, but it's not usually expensive and they can save you a lot of time. So if you're somebody like me that works on an hourly basis, I get paid for every hour that I work, and sometimes it's worth it for me to pay these people to get these things done. I can't lose a morning waiting in a queue, or even sometimes a couple of days if you haven't got the right documents and you have to go back again. And this is any type of bureaucracy here in Spain. Now this year my residency comes up again, so I have to renew that. So I'm already planning the process. I know somebody who can do the paperwork for me, so I might put that into his hands, pay him a small fee, normally around 50 euros, and they organise the appointments, and then all you have to do is show up on the day of the appointment with the correct documents which that gestor organises for you, and you go through fairly quickly. So I'm considering whether or not I'm going to do that again, because like I said, it's 50 euros. It's not a lot of money in my opinion to get these things done, because sometimes it can be quite frustrating. Now I've had comments in these videos from people that say, oh, you don't need to use a gestor, you don't need to go to a lawyer. But in my personal experience, sometimes it's worth your while to do it. Now, I have to go into Madrid now, so we'll pick this conversation back up in the car, and I'll tell you about some of my worst experiences with Spanish bureaucracy. Let's go. Okay, in the car now, pick up the story again. So we're going to go into Madrid. Now, as I said, I work by the hour. So any time that I have to take off, I don't get paid. So that's why I prefer to use somebody like a gestor or a lawyer to get these things done for me. Of course, you might have to find one that specializes in the particular subject that you're looking to get done. So whether it's residency, whether it's taxation, whether it's getting your driver's license renewed, whether it's getting your car put into the name of somebody else, or you're transferring a car or something along those lines, you can find a specific gestor or lawyer to get this done. Now, my experiences with the Spanish bureaucracy. Now, like I said, I've been here for a long time. I've been here nearly 20 years. And going back to the early days, the most frustrating thing for me, as I said before, were queues, okay? You would get to these places in the morning thinking that you were going to be the first person there, and there was already 50 or 60 people there waiting. You'd stand in the queue, and then all of a sudden when the doors opened at 9 o'clock or whenever they opened, everybody would just rush to try and get a number. So it was a bit chaotic. That's improved, thankfully, over the years, especially when it comes to doing your residency. You don't have to wait in the same queues as you used to do. But every day when I walk past a lot of these government agencies or organizations, I still see a lot of people queuing to get things done, especially from an immigration point of view. Some of my frustrating experiences with the bureaucracy, well, I can remember one. When I first came here, I tried to get my academic qualifications put into Spanish and to get them recognized by the Spanish government. Went to the Ministry of Education in the afternoon, I think it was, or maybe it was in the morning, can't really remember, and that was an absolute nightmare. Had trouble even to find somebody at that ministry, and I remember I was standing there and there was a phone next to me, and the phone was ringing and ringing and ringing. There were 3 or 4 people working around the place and nobody was picking up this phone. It literally rang 5 times and not one person decided that they needed to pick up the phone. So that's the type of service that you get a lot of the times in the Spanish bureaucracy. So if you want to deal with it properly, you have to have patience. Be prepared to wait if that's what you're going to do. Another time I went to the taxation office, the Agencia Tributaria, and thinking that I could get an appointment straight away, and was told that you need to get an appointment previously, and the first one was available in about 2 weeks' time. So if you need something done quickly, that's one of the nightmares that you're going to come up against. You can get your appointments online nowadays, so that's not too bad, but as I said, dealing with the bureaucracy can be a little bit frustrating. Okay, back again in Madrid now, just about to start a class in a few minutes' time, so I'll finish this video off. So how does the bureaucracy here in Spain compare to other countries that I've dealt with? Well, I can only compare it to Australia and the time that I was living in the UK, and I will say that I found it easier to do things in those countries. Civil servants seem to be a little bit friendlier in Australia than they are here. It could also be a language thing, I don't know. I do speak Spanish fairly well, so it shouldn't really be a problem, but I just find it easier sometimes to communicate, and sometimes even to get somebody with a smile on their face in a public service organisation sometimes is a lot better. And here, rarely do you see a smile on a civil servant's face. What tips can I give for people that are going to come to Spain and have to deal with the bureaucracy? As I said before, patience, patience, patience. Be patient. Make sure you get the right documents. Don't worry if you haven't got the right document. Come back the next day and do it again. But make sure that everything is in order. Get there early. Get a number. Don't get stressed out. Don't get angry, okay? That's a key. Don't get angry with the civil servant because you won't get anything done. And if you don't want to waste too much of your time, hire somebody to do it for you. Go and see a gestor. Get them to do it for you. Pay a fee, normally around 50 euros, maybe a bit more, but they will take the stress out of the red tape. So keep that in mind. So that's all I've got to say. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Check out the survey on thelocal.es. Fill it out, give your opinions, leave your questions and comments in the section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Hasta luego.